Have you ever sat down to write and found after like 4 or 5 minutes that you were thinking about something else? Were you frustrated at yourself? Irritated that you weren't working on the story when you don't have a lot of time to do it anyway? In this video, I'm going to show you the top 3 things that ruin your focus and how you can get past them. I'm Colleen M. Story, and this is Writing and Wellness. The older you get, the harder it is for your brain to focus in on one thing. If you used to be able to write a story while your partner was watching television, that might start to get harder after the age of, say, 35 or 40. Your brain has a more difficult time switching back and forth between those two activities. You're not really multitasking, watching TV and doing your story. You're watching TV, then doing the story, then watching TV. And when you get older, your brain finds that harder. It becomes a little less flexible, just like your muscles do. So these activities that maybe you could do really well when you're 20, not going to come so easy when you're 40. And for those of you who are younger who think you're escaping, there was a study that found that at the age of 24, we're starting to lose brain cells. Our cognitive abilities, which is our thinking abilities, start this gradual, very slow decline. And about every 15 years after that, our overall cognitive ability drops. The speed of being able to go from one task to another is not as fast as it used to be. Your tendency to become distracted when you're trying to write is going to be more frequent. As we get older as well, parts of the brain actually start to shrink. They have found this to be true, especially after the age of 60. If you are trying to write in a distracted atmosphere, you're going to be asking your brain to do more than it's really suited to do. And with every passing 5-10 years, it's going to get more and more difficult to do that. As you get older, you want to make it easier for your brain to focus when you sit down and write. Okay, so how do you do that? First, shut off all distractions. Put the phone in another room, turn off the internet, shut down your email, put on some noise-canceling headphones, get yourself in a private place where no one's going to interrupt you or bother you. The more that you can limit distractions, the faster you'll be able to focus and the more you'll be able to get done. Take a look at the medications you're taking right now. Some medications are known to make it more difficult for the brain to focus or easier for it to be distracted. Antihistamines, antidepressants, pain medications, these can all affect focus and concentration. Just ask yourself if you think any of your medications that you're taking right now might be bothering you, and if so, talk to your doctor about some potential options, or maybe take the medications at a different time than before you write. Sleep deprivation can really affect your focus and concentration. You have a bad night of sleep, it's really hard to focus on your writing the next day. Insomnia, sleeping pills, both deadly to focus. If you're having trouble sleeping, talk to your doctor about it, and then make sure you're keeping all technology out of the bedroom at night, because that can keep you awake, including your phones, your computers, your tablets, and your televisions. Try to have an hour where you're slowing down and relaxing before you go to bed, a regular bedtime routine, to see if you can improve your sleep at night, because that will improve your focus. As we get older, particularly vitamin B12 can become more difficult for the body to absorb. Vitamin B plays a role in the connection between the messengers in your brain. So if you are short on it, which can easily happen as we get older, then fixing that issue might be able to help you. So many times, even when we're just talking to somebody, our brains are thinking about something else at the same time, rather than really focusing in and listening to what that person has to say. Whenever you have the opportunity, practice focusing, because as a society, we are practicing being distracted. Practicing mindfulness, which is all about awareness of the moment, can help you to improve your focus so that when you sit down and write, it comes more easily to you. The second thing that's affecting your ability to focus when you write is multitasking. We think that we're multitasking, but scientists have found that we do not. The brain simply shifts back and forth between the various activities that we're trying to do at the same time. And just like the rest of the brain tends to slow down as we get older, our ability to multitask slows down. We're like computers without enough RAM. And unfortunately, there's no way to install more. The solution is to try not to multitask. When you sit down to write, focus only on writing. That's not always realistic, of course. If you've only got a half an hour while your child is playing, and that's the time you have to write, you're kind of forced to multitask in that moment. So if you have to do that, there's a couple tips that can help. particularly music that fits the scene that you're writing. That can assist your brain in focusing more on your story and what's going on there than perhaps on anything else that you might have going on at the time. Get up and jump rope for a few minutes. Do some push-ups, do some sit-ups, run in place, maybe dance. Anything like that can get the blood circulating to your brain, which is giving the brain the fuel it needs to process as best it can. Even just 3 minutes of quick supercharged exercise can actually help your brain to be more responsive during that time. Stress kills creativity. And scientists have also found that stress actually kills neurons in the brain. It's bad for you over time because it can damage the brain that way. So 2 reasons to reduce stress. In the moment to help you focus, but also for the long-term health of your brain and your creativity. All these things will help if you have to multitask, but just remember, the best solution is not to multitask. And speaking of stress, that's the 3rd thing I want to talk about in this video as far as things that can destroy your focus. We writers are particularly vulnerable to this because we're trying to fit our writing into our busy lives. There's probably other stressful things going on. So when we come to the page, we're almost already primed to be stressed because I've got 15 minutes, I got 20 minutes, I got a half an hour, I got to get this chapter done. Stress can often be our companion, and stress makes it more difficult for you to focus and concentrate. Here's an interesting study. Scientists tested women under stress and found that women who were stressed compared to those who were not took 10 minutes longer to recall information they had just learned. Apply that to you trying to remember what your characters are doing in chapter 5, scene 3, or what your setting is there. Other research has found that stress actually affects the prefrontal cortex of the brain. That's the thinking part of the brain, what you really need for writing your stories. So how do we counteract the effects of stress on focus? Because none of us are going to live stress-free lives, right? Age, multitasking, and stress. We talked about ways to limit how much these are affecting your focus when you sit down to write. If you can put these tips into practice, you should be able to focus faster and get more writing done, even if you only have 15 minutes. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe and press the notifications button so you're sure to get an alert when I have another video come out. Thank you and good luck focusing the next time you sit down to write.